Hello. Today I have something unique here. I have a Tanto bladed Swiss Army knife. This is one of the knives I got from the flea market for $1, and it had a large chip out of the drop point blade like this traditional Swiss Army knife has. So I took some masking tape, a Sharpie, and a Nicholson general purpose mill file, and I took some time and I filed away the blade and I made it into a Tanto. And surprisingly, the steel with the Victorinox knives was relatively easy to work. I had no major problem doing this with just the Nicholson file. This is it. This is all you really need to take your drop point blade and turn it into a Tanto, should you so desire. And I think it came out really nice on this one, surprisingly. I was very pleased with the results. After I reprofiled the blade with the mill file, it was, of course, basically like a factory blade blank, and I had to take my Lansky sharpener and use the very coarse grits and work my way down to ultra fine to sharpen this. You can see the results here are quite impressive. I was somewhat shocked, honestly. I thought it would be harder to reprofile a blade into a blank and then sharpen it than what I encountered. I think that I might decide to mod another Swiss Army knife like this. Perhaps one that doesn't have a more obscure handle logo. But this is an Elinox, which is a Victorinox name. I think this knife is probably from the 60s, and I like that I was able to breathe some new life into it. Traditionally, the Tanto blade pattern was used to revive worn-out blades so that the Japanese didn't have to throw them out. Obviously, in feudal Japan, blades were very expensive, and if you didn't have to throw the whole thing out, you didn't. So I kind of used that same philosophy when I made this knife into a Tanto. And when you close it up, it's recessed nicely enough that you're not going to catch your finger against the blade and slice yourself, which is something to consider if you decide to mod different styles of knives into a Tanto blade. Here's some evidence of how sharp this is. We'll cut through some denim. Granted, your Swiss Army knives are not locking blades, so the online kind of machismo-fueled arguments about Tantos being for stabbing are more or less negated by the fact that if you try to stab anything with this, you're probably going to have the blade close on your hand, and it's going to result in several stitches and possibly a trip to the emergency room. Makes an excellent slicing blade, though. I cut through that denim and the paper no problem. And it just looks sexy. And it's, as I said, very easy to do. You get your Nicholson or whatever brand of metal file you're going to use. Slowly tape this off and just work it. Give yourself a little extra edge. That way when you put the finishing touches and sharpen the knife, you have room for that extra edge. So if you wanted to make this a Tanto, you would have stopped grinding it roughly where this edge would meet its terminus over here, instead of setting your grind to where the edge is now. I gave myself extra room to put the blade on there. All in all, for a knife that cost me $1 and about a half an hour's work, grinding it with a file and then maybe another's hour's work, give or take, sharpening it, was a very positive result. So I now am one of the few people that possesses a Tanto Swiss Army knife, possibly one of the first. So we've all made YouTube history here by seeing the first Tanto Swiss Army knife. Thank you for watching.